Wouldn't Jane be better for resource management considering she doesn't need her talents leveled up, plus she's strong? Nate, you are correct, but Caesar is broken. Right now, Caesar is the equivalent to Zhongli, fixed version, not the one we got originally, like the buffed up version. But if you could do damage at S0 or E0, whatever it's gonna be, M0, right? That is currently what Caesar is. So there's a video on my Zenless channel where I go over Caesar, and I said if they give her some things, she will be busted, and they gave her those things. They gave her the ability to, like, it's her ult if I'm not mistaken. She can throw her shield and then get off screen, the shield stays. She has, like, I didn't even see this before until her trailer. The shields spin, right? Like a fucking, like some kind of chainsaw. They go all the way around and it spins for a little bit. I don't know what that move is, but it was in the trailer. If she can go off field while those spin, kind of like a vortex, you know, like think of like Shine Ling's Pyro NATO. If her shields work like a shield NATO, I guess, and you can swap out and keep the shield NATO, she's broken or further broken. The biggest thing though, and in fact here, because maybe I could turn this into a video, who knows? We can talk about Caesar really quick because there's some things that I want to point out about what happened in the trailer that are really good for the game. If we were to talk about this real quick, and I don't think you guys can hear that, let me turn that on for you. I want to show you guys Caesar. I want to talk about Caesar real quick because a lot of stuff that's happening in this particular patch, what is this, version 1.4, 1.2? Damn, we're in 1.2. I guess we are in 1.2. That's crazy. Where is, did we start with Burnice first? I thought we started with Caesar. What I want to show you guys is some of the things that I called out in my previous video where I said if she has those things, this part right here. I'm gonna take off CC so you can see it. We're gonna play it back in slow-mo, and then I want y'all to kind of like remember what I said about this, right? I said if she has a parry or some type of like shield into attack mechanic without consuming meter or as a base skill, she would become a one-woman army, meaning that you just basically don't have to swap off of this character. He attacks, she uses her skill, gets the parry, and attacks again. And she's gonna get a parry attack from this. Boom. Boom. Again. Boom. Boom. Now, there are two things to pay attention to here. One of which I truly believe. This could be in training mode because we're not able to see this, right? They're showing us whatever's happening. So they could have max energy, like infinite energy. I don't think that's what's happening. I think what's happening is they're showing us if you get a perfect parry, similar to other games, right? In other games, if you perform a Street Fighter 6, again, fighting games, if you perform a perfect anything, so in this case, a perfect parry, you have more advantage over performing a regular parry. Does this count as being attacked? This is getting hit. Yes. They are punching you and you're getting the parry. What's better about this, I think I brought this up again in the previous video, but I could be wrong. She has a true parry. I said that if it works like a true parry meaning it stops the attack. The entire, no more. They don't continue the animation. So we're going to explain something real quick. When you see him attack, parry. You see the blowback, right? You see her shield, parry, and the big ass blowback happens. It immediately stops his attack. His entire punch animation, blowback. This is huge because normally what happens when you get the parry is it'll do the clash, they'll jump into whatever, and then someone or anything else can still stagger. Now what this alludes to, I need to test this, but this alludes to it, if it works similarly to how other parries work in an action game, you can parry multiple attacks with one parry. So if multiple enemies happen to attack you at the same time or in unison, you can parry and it'll count. Now what happens in some of the, I'm trying to think of the game that allows you to do this because I kind of want to tell you it's Dark Souls. I want to tell you it's Dark Souls 3, but I could be wrong. There's a particular game that, again, I can't remember what it is, but when you parry, there's a window of a parry timing. And if something else hits you in this window, it also gets parried. And again, I just, it's fresh on my head of like, I've played it. I just can't remember what this game is that allows you to do that. Devil May Cry, I don't think it's Devil May Cry, but Royal Guard is interesting. Yeah, Royal Guard is also a good example from DMC, but I don't think Minecraft. It's not Minecraft, but I don't think it's that. It's something else entirely. If you parry and that window is still there during the parry animation, and something were to hit you within that window, it also gets parried and it counts as a trigger, or it counts as whatever's happening for the parry. So with this happening, if this is true, which I mean, we see it here, right? It stops the animation completely. That's huge for defensive play. Then you have the counter attack that happens and he gets stunned. So even if you don't do the counter attack, it's a full stop, full stun. Homie is stuck in what we call, from like any other action game or whatever, and I've been calling it, you know, in here, recovery. He is stuck in recovery. He can't move, he can't dodge, he can't think, he can't perform another action until he recovers, which this is in slow-mo. So 1, 2, 3. He's got about 3 seconds of recovery. 3 seconds in an action game, if you play League of Legends, you guys know 3 seconds in these type of games, you can get a lot done in 3 seconds, or there's a lot that can be done within that small period of time, given your execution ability. Now we see him do it again. That move right there, if you fought this character, the punchy boy, he jumps up and that's a 2-hitter. The second attack is him lunging down with a fist. You can parry that. Most players dodge it. Again, stops it completely. And then she gets the counter, and he's still stuck in those 3 seconds of recovery. This is huge for this character. The second thing that makes this big is what I was saying, if it doesn't consume meters. So right now they're in training mode, so they could have infinite energy. I think what's happening is, if you perfect parry, you don't use energy. Something's happening here to where like she's not consuming the energy, or maybe it instant refills itself on a perfect parry. I'm not entirely too sure. I will need to play the character to find that out. The real question is, does the defensive W engines trigger during the parry? Yes. They would have to, because it counts as her parry. Parried again. This is an enemy that has multiple attacks. Like, that's what I want you guys to understand about what's happening here, is that he has multi-attacks. Not like he hits you multiple times in one instance. Like, no, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's the way his attack pattern works. Her parry leaves her on the field and completely stops the animation altogether. Other parries in the game don't do that. Ben's parry, for example, Ben, he does his boom, he drops a thing, and then he'll get a little bit of a blowback on smaller enemies, but not on bigger ones. So if we can see this on a boss, for instance, like the Marionette twins. Oh, Ben does not stop the, oh, that's even worse. That's even, yeah, if Ben doesn't stop it, that means he doesn't have a true parry, he has a regular parry. She is the first character that's coming to the game with a true parry. There's that shield throw. You can switch tech that. And her auto combo, or her basic attack string, has a parry built into it. So again, yo, we have to go back. I'm going to keep saying this. We have to go back and give the Zenless team props for getting in touch with Capcom. They did the Street Fighter 6 dev talk of the roundtable, and a lot of people who just don't think further than what's in front of their face was saying that, oh yeah, man, I really don't want fighting games in Zenless. Like, that's a bad collab. And I said, this goes beyond Street Fighter, because they now have access to Capcom's assets. There's something in, let me go find it. Let's see if I can find it, just so I can show it to you guys, because all this is live. This is going to be in a video. All this is live. No, guard points. In Monster Hunter, they're called guard points. I can't type right now. Guard points in Monster Hunter are basically whenever you're doing an action, and inside of that action, if you happen to get hit, it counts as a parry. Let's look at this real quick. I'm gonna skim through it so you guys can kind of see what's going on, because I want you to see it and show it, right? Guard point. Guard point. Guard point. You see all of these are normal things, but now you see, he just, look very closely. You're gonna see him pull out the blade, charge it, and then he's gonna get a parry from it. Like, it's gonna do the clean like a guard, right? I'm gonna turn up the volume a little bit, so maybe that helps you with the sound. Right there. I'm gonna slow it down for you, just so you can see it, just so you can see what I'm talking about, right? guard, loads up the attack, guard point. That when it turns over, this is a guard point. It's all about taking advantage of the moment in time. This is what I was referring to when I said I made a video talking about like Jane's gameplay and Nekomata and why they were so strong because of the speed at which they allow you to play the game. And I said this during my zero cycle with like Zhu Yuan, for instance, and Xing Yi. I said that in the event you're able to fully take advantage of like what you're doing with your fingers, mouse and keyboard, whatever, and you understand why you're doing it and how and when, elevates your gameplay immediately. She has a guard point built into her basic attack string. Even if you're spamming attack, she will have a guard point. She will parry something. If I said zero cycle and ZZ, I didn't mean that. I meant like hitless run. Right? She gets her shield back. Boom. Guard point. And I bet you that little charge forward is also a guard point. And now we're going to play it at normal speed so you guys get all the information from it, right? They gave Caeser exactly what I said would make her broken. I'm not complaining. I love this. Caeser is a character that just from looking at it from face value, if you want the most future-proof character to like glue your team together and just like a one-woman team, it's Caeser. And she does a debuff on them? Yeah.
When she triggers a perfect block, defensive assist, or meets other certain requirements, she applies debuffs to surrounding enemies.
Yep. When she triggers a perfect block or a perfect parry, she'll put that debuff on him. What this does is it incentivizes players to not only learn when you're doing that guard point, so don't just mash, right? Take advantage of when that guard point is going to be available, when it's going to come up in the box or the attack string. It also is teaching players stop mashing. Because if you mash and you miss the guard point, you don't get the debuff, which means you don't get the ability to swap into another character or even for her, and you get that damage buff on the enemies, right? But if you were able to use this guard point even outside of the skill or the basic attack string, and you were able to use it with the skill, you probably won't consume meter based off what we were seeing earlier.
That's correct. When Caeser is in combat, she can protect on-field squad members and boost their anti-interrupt
Look at this.
by providing a shield.
Remember what I said about Zhongli?
Chain attack and ultimate. When launching her ult, a shield with her
Why does she have this? Why does she have this?
by providing a shield with her EX special.
She's taking no damage. She's not being blown back. Like the words down here, core passive, barrier of resilience. While this shield is active, the shield bearer's anti-interrupt level and attack are increased. They don't say the anti-interrupt level is like she becomes immune to interruption, which is what they should say. If she can pass this to the team, it's a wrap.
Attack, chain attack, and ultimate. When launching her ult, Caeser swings her shield and charges into the
Look at that. You can switch tech all of that, by the way. And it looks like, okay, I see what's happening here. It either changes her attack animation, the ult, for that one basic string, because this is different, right? Boom. Okay, hold on. Go back all the way, baby girl.
Caeser swings her shield and charges into the battlefield in the Overlord's grace stance.
That. 1, 2. I think this is an install. Let me, hold on. I'm going to turn it up real quick. So if you guys hear double, that's my bad. But I need to hear exactly what he's saying right there.
Caeser swings her shield and charges into the battlefield in the Overlord's grace stance, dealing damage to enemy.
Yeah.
The Overlord's grace stance or dance. That's an install.
I might be a defense agent, but that's because it's what I'm best at. I still know how to make the pain rain.
That's Caeser for you.
They just told you she's gonna do damage. They quite literally said she's gonna excel at defensive play, and through excelling at defensive play, she's gonna knock the shit out of somebody. This hair just cracked. Burnice is gonna be one of these characters.
If you don't protect your team.
Absolutely. Now let's
I believe this is off-field damage. There's a key shot in here that I want to point out, but we have to get to it first.
When in combat, Burnice alternates between her two flamethrowers, Mixer and Shaker, to
very basic attacks, right? You literally just holding it. Now her fucking that little dash she got is hot.
Unleash blazing hot flames from both flamethrowers in a short burst, dealing massive damage.
Yeah.
And inflicting fire.
The fact that if we pay attention to it, the fact that she doesn't have a 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4 hold, right? What she has is just a hold attack. So she's just easy to play. You don't have to think, right? You're not thinking about the combo. You're thinking about what you're doing in the placement. But you see all, look at that. She does all of this, chain attack, goes into Lucy. Look at the enemy. You see that ball of fire still on them? No one, we don't have that currently in the game. There's not an effect like that currently in the game. She's off field burning this enemy for however long that may be. That's going to be big for Jane because Jane forces anomaly, or rather assault to crit, meaning if Burnice has her own unique property to burns, just like Jane has her own unique property to assault, and that burn is like tick, 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 but a lot, and it might debuff the enemy. Yeah, no, you're going to start like delete, delete, delete. Nothing is going to live. That's going to be the best team in the game. Afterburn, that's the name of it.
It triggers Afterburn, dealing an extra instance of fire damage. In battle, Burnice can use her EX special attack to quickly burn enemies while stacking up heat to trigger the Nitro Fuel Cocktail Stick. Even if you switch to another agent, the Afterburn effect continues.
Even if you switch to another agent, the Afterburn effect continues. Let's run that back. Let's run that back.
If you switch to another agent, the Afterburn effect continues to trigger steadily.
Do you guys see what's happening? They are showing you switch tech, by the way. Burnice is gonna flamethrower from the sky, and Jane switches in. Not immediately, after a little bit, right? But because this is a full extended thing, and the best part about moves like this, really long animations, you don't have to hold it. One of the key things that I want to point out about this, that entire, you see how she was doing the spin and she's going to jump in the air and flamethrower? I guarantee you can switch and she'll do the whole thing and stay in the air the whole time. So now Jane comes out, does her thing. Jane's going to get the crits. You see Afterburn is still going on. This is huge. Oh my goodness. This team is going to be nasty. Oh my, this team is, guys, these two characters in particular, I really think, honestly, here's how I feel about 1.2 so far. We're not done. I want to go over some of the new changes coming into 1.2, but right now in the middle of the video, 1.2 will be this is going to be the patch that brings players who did not want to invest time into Zenless. It's going to make them want to play Zenless. It's going to make them want to go through the grind of the beginning to get to the good stuff. However, there are a lot of quality of life changes that are happening in 1.2 that will make brand new players who either stop the game early on or new players picking it up. It's going to make their time progressing through the game so much easier. We're going to go over those quality of life changes here in just a moment. These two characters in particular, if you have Jane and you happen to get Burnice, and I say Burnice because, like, even though we just talked about Caeser being broken, and she is the first must pull in the game, in my opinion. If you have Jane, you can get away with not getting Caeser right now because you have Seth. Jane, Seth, and Burnice will still be strong as shit. Probably second best team in the game. Jane, Caeser, and Burnice will more than likely be the new #1. I think these two characters are bringing something very unique to the game, which is adaptability, uniqueness. Of course, the other characters have like unique meter mechanics, right? But I think these two in particular are bringing something that Jane already started, which is the ability to, how do I explain it? They're basically bringing a new form of play styles to the game that isn't just mash, 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 build, crit, mash, 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 you're dead. Ellen was a good start to that because Ellen, you can't just mash, 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 you're dead, right? Like you have to find a way to include her scissor stacks and build off of that and keep those up. Zhu Yuan, point gun, bang, you're dead. That's it. Is the enemy stunned? Yes, point gun, bang, you're dead. So I think these two are really gonna bring it home and help define the meta moving forward. Not the meta in terms of like who's powerful. I mean the meta in terms of like all of the different variations of how you can play the game, where people were like, oh, the game is boring. You just left click. You just press square. I think these two being here will help define that because we still have Yanagi. We still have the other all of Miyabi squad, right? Miyabi, Yanagi, and I think this guy's name is Musashi, the boy. We still have those three. And that's another thing that I'll talk about eventually. Those three, Yanagi and Musashi, allude to, I want to do a little bit more research on this, Oh, and Lighter. Don't Haramasa. Thank you. That's his name. We can't forget Lighter as well. Lighter's also coming into the game as an attack unit for Sons of Caledon. Something that I wanted to point out is the concept of assist attacks. I'll explain this like very briefly because this isn't the video for that. But if you play through the story with Hollow Zero, when you get to use Yanagi and Haramasa, they do this thing in the game where you're playing your character, your team, and then they come out of nowhere to do their own thing. Haramasa might come out and he'll load up the bow and arrow and then and just fire a bunch of stuff off. And that can help you do whatever you want. I feel like that's their next plan of action, is to include assist attacks, where instead of tagging out on the character, you can call someone in for an assist. And like, let's say that you want Burnice to come in and use an assist attack, right? You want her to do her spin flames so that she can lift someone into the active assist. Thank you. You want them to lift an enemy off the ground, or you want Anbi to come out and do her uppercut, lift someone off the ground so you get, an air launcher. I think active assist is going to be the next thing moving forward. After they solidify what these characters do, the next batch of characters might be active assist type characters, or bring that into the game. So I think right now 1.2 is like a perfect time to get into the game, catch up, get back into it. ZZZ, I've said this since the game, right? Since we got the official game, because I hated the beta. The beta was not good for me at all, but I knew it had potential. The moment the game came out, I've said the same thing over and over. Zenless has the potential to be Hoyo's best game. We're gonna get into 1.2, but there's a lot that goes into this, because there's some more stuff that I want to show you guys with where's it at, quality of life stuff. If I can get to it here, I don't want to talk anymore about them, because the other stuff is gonna be fine, right? Story mode, things like that, gonna be really good. We need her as a playable character, by the way. This Cherokee woman, we need her as a playable. This event, I want her as a playable character. Let me run around with her. I want it. This event is going to be nice for just materials overall. And as you see here, this is going to be how you get your free Lucy. I'm more than likely positive this is going to happen whenever we get Caeser, because that's going to be the next story patch that we get with all of Sons of Caledon. We're going to start that. Yeah. So you definitely want to do this event. We're going to be doing that today on stream. Or actually, I'll probably do it off stream because it's like 4 hours, but whatever. Anyway, point being is that Zenless, I've been super slacking on my events, guys. If you happen to come across this video, you're brand new, or you're a returning player and you're like, I'm going to wait for 1.2, jump on the game now, get your, return to Zenless bonuses, whatever it is, and knock out as many of these events as possible. If you don't do anything else, knock out the events, because right now we're on the last week of the Camellia event. That W engine is really good for certain attack characters in case you don't have other things, right? So it helps you not have to pull on banners. You also have all this material. Right now, you see the physical, right, in the tactical chips, physical and burn. Perfect for what's coming up. We also have 2 events right now giving away tactical chips, which is going to be big for Jane if you happen to get her. If you aren't getting Jane and you're going for Caeser, tactical chips, that's free resources, by the way. So you don't have to go farm these chips, which means you can use your farming on leveling up her talent. Her skills. Her level, and using it for the disc drives, leveling up the weapon, things like that. You can use your stamina elsewhere. And we're going to talk about it later. We're also getting reserve stamina, just like in Star Rail. I believe it's going to, batteries or whatever. So a lot of this stuff you guys really want to take advantage of. This is another reason we're finally getting a new arcade mode, or a new arcade game. This is a big reason why I said, let me let this play, but I'm gonna mute it. This is just like Enter the Gungeon. We finally have an actual roguelike game. The reason that I said Zenless has a potential, one of the reasons I said Zenless has a potential to be the best game ever from Hoyo, is because having an arcade mode built into your game means that you have endless potential on adding anything to your game. They also have ties with Capcom. We just talked about Sizen, exactly. We just talked about their connections with Capcom and being able to share assets. They almost 1-for-1 have animations from Caeser that are from the Sword and Shield and Charge Blade that we just went over with Monster Hunter. Being able to give Zenless a full-on game, a fully licensed game, fully licensed IP from Capcom, because they share their homies, right? Hey, can we get Vampire Survivor or Vampire Savior, which is Darkstalkers? Can we get that in Zenless? Yeah, we'll let you have it, but it's limited. 6 months license, deal. 6 months, you got 6 months to play Vampire Savior is a Japanese name, but you have 6 months to play Darkstalkers in Zenless. Have fun, rank up, get rewards, just enjoy the game, right? You can log into the game to play another game just to have fun with your friends. Can we bum Street Fighter 4 or Third Strike or Street Fighter Turbo 2? Yeah, but it's gotta be a limited event, 1 month. Okay, it's in the game now. Whole Street Fighter event built around that event, right? Cool. Hey, can we borrow Mega Man? Or can we put Mega Man as a permanent game mode in the game? But maybe you don't call it Mega Man, but we'll give you everything for Mega Man. So we'll give you Mega Man X1 and 2 and maybe 3, but you can't call it Mega Man. Okay, we'll call it Starlight Heroes, and we'll base the concept of Starlight Heroes around Mega Man X. Put it in the game. The potential for them to do that, and this is no longer a thought, like a proof of concept, right? We've been given the proof of concept repeatedly. Since the game has come out, they've repeatedly shown us they have taken assets or borrowed things directly from Capcom to put into their game. It's no longer a thought on whether or not they would or could do it. They are doing it. So now we see our first new arcade game is Enter the Gungeon. Let me get a hit. Hey, bro. You know? Elevate your mind. Open up your third eye. Enter the Gungeon. Hopefully it's a permanent new game mode, right? Not just an event. I know that we have some other games that do that and then they turn it, like Wuthering. Wuthering is a great example of this. Something that's an event and like we really like it. Hey, we'll turn it into permanent. Oh, thank you. And then they do that. Maybe we'll get the same thing here if it is an event, but it looks like it's permanent. It looks like they just said brand new game mode. This shit here.
Have also added a new series of combat commissions in version 1.2. So be sure to check those out if you're interested. Additionally,
Wait. Actually, that might have answered my question. Perry, is he still going?
if you're interested. Additionally,
Damn it. I don't think.
Additionally, version 1.2. So be sure to check those out.
I have to test this. I'm going to test this on my own. I don't think her parry stops bosses. That might have been their way of limiting how strong she is. I think her parry stops anything beneath a boss. So like elites, mobs, all that, I think her parry hard stops it, but I don't think she stops it because it looks like Motorcycle Dude is still motorcycling. So that's good to know. It might stop the butcher for sure. Because he does have animations that could be, yeah, you know what? Now that you think about that, it might be able to do that. But what's important here is that this is a brand new boss. This brand new boss could be included. Hopefully they do. This is 2 new bosses, by the way. Shadow Jane. They could take these bosses from the event and throw them into Hollow Zero or throw them into Shiyu Defense, or even right now we only have the pink flower girl, right? The lady, the monster for our Inferno Reap. This could be added into Inferno Reap so that we can rotate out new bosses. This is really good. These new disc drives, let's talk about this for a bit. Chaos Jazz, these are great. Plus 30% anomaly proficiency, meaning that this is another Freedom Blues, right? There's another thing for Freedom Blues, plus 2. The 4-piece though, both fire and electric damage is increased by 15%. This is half the fucking roster. Half the characters in the game are fire and electric at this point, when off-field damage dealt by EX special attacks and assist attacks is increased by 20%. Hey, that could be a Yanagi hint. I don't know. Y'all called it, not me. I don't know. I'm just saying, off-field damage dealt by EX special attacks and assist attacks is increased by 20%. This straight up tells you that we not only have a fire character dealing off-field damage, which this might actually work in Lucy's favor because she has the boars. Lucy has the boars. So this might be her new best in slot disc drive. We know this works for Burnice. We don't have one of these for electric except Rena. So now Rena can add the penetration value from her own kit, and she's gonna buff up EX special attacks and assist attacks. So now you just have to figure out who takes the most advantage or something like that. When the character switches back onto the field, his buff continues for 5 seconds. The lasting effect can be triggered once every 7.5 seconds. There's gonna be a timing to this, meaning that you can pretty much keep this buff up permanently. I say this because I know Rena has a literally about a 7.5 second cooldown on the puppets. E1 Rena, excuse me, jumps up to 15%, and that'll be really good for her. Burnice, of course, I don't know how long her afterburn state is gonna last, and Lucy just kind of always has bores, so maybe that's something that she'll work out. Photo or Protopunk is gonna be what looks like the new disk drive for Caeser. So if you're farming for Caeser, don't even worry about farming disk drives. Save up your materials, farm this new set. That'll give you the stuff for Burnice, for any future electric characters that may come out who work off field, and for Caeser. Really good. Shield effect is plus 15%. We already know she has the best shield in the game because you can't get hit. And then when any squad member triggers a defensive assist or evasive assist, all squad members deal 15% increased damage lasting for 10 seconds. Then of course you can't stack this with another shield type character. This is big for her. Yeah, this 4-piece works on anyone. This is a very strong universal 4-piece set for your supportive characters. We have a new CU defense mode. Did they say this was an event? Okay, a new CU defense mode. This is going to be an event. That's okay. Maybe they keep this permanent, but it does look pretty fun. Yeah, we have a lot of events coming into the game. This one is going to be pretty interesting too. The new Hollow Zero. I like these. I like a lot of this. We're going to be getting a new, the new thing that Starro does. We get a 10 pull every patch. Looks like Zenless is following that same trajectory. We're going to get a new 10 pull every patch and boo pawns, so you can choose whatever you want. Lastly, this is big. I need to double back on this and make sure there's no like really stupid criteria like being level 40, but it looks like we're going to be getting auto exploration in the game. So things you don't want to clear, hey, send fairy on it. And this is going to be perfect for not only clearing out your side quests, your exploration quest that nobody wants to do because we don't like Hollow Zero, but they're also reducing, they've been reducing it, but now Hollow Zero is reduced even further. So now you can only focus on combat. We just heard them talk about it earlier where they're only, they're bringing us more combat commissions, like pure combat. And the thing that we just talked about, or we just went over, I kind of skimmed over it, but that's my bad. This right here, we're going to have a pure Hollow Zero combat, pure combat Hollow Zero. No running through anything. It's just pure combat. We're going to be able to get buffs after each fight as an actual roguelike, how you would go through a roguelike. You fight something, you go to the next floor, you get a buff, you fight something, go to it, you can. Okay, so if it works that way, done. These are the quality of life changes. And think about it this way, right? This only took us 2 patches to get to. This wasn't half a year. This wasn't a full year. This took us 2 patches to get these drastic of quality of life changes. This is big. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right here. Right here. It's right here. Hopefully this becomes permanent. Hey, Big Ed.
After each fight, you'll earn a Resonium surprise box with several Resonia.
After each fight, you'll own a Resonium surprise box with all your buffs. That's good shit. That's good shit. I like that. I like that a lot. What else we got? What else? Oh, this. Chat. Get all this fucking excess stamina, baby. Good stuff. And then beyond this point, I believe they're going to show it here in just a moment. What up, big head? You always trying to kiss. Hi. We have preset squads now. How long did it take us to get this inside of Genshin Impact and Star Rail? Zenless got it in 2 patches. They have the plan, right? All of the pre-dedicated work before Zenless. They have everything that they need to put into the game. What are you doing, girl? What are you? Hi. What are you doing? CV, you're right. A lot of this should be in the base game, but I don't disagree with you on that. I think what happened is they were trying to get a feel for who or what type of players would be interested in the game and stick to the game. I believe they also wanted to see what would make players not play the game or give up on the game. And now they have enough data to start making these drastic of changes to get ahead, right? Because we're still missing co-op, by the way. Co-op was in CBT 3 and now we don't have it anymore. So that might be something that they're trying out next. Once they put all these quality of life changes in there, they might be going for co-op. Freely switching between characters. Now, just to quickly explain this, we'll be able to use Caeser and Burnice first. After this, we'll get more characters. This is big. Fucking finally. Anyway, this time change is big. No longer do we have to bullshit something. Because if you don't know, right now you can't just skip to whatever you need to, or even an entire day. If you rest, you can only rest once a day, and it advances you forward. Now we can choose when and how long we want to rest for. Beautiful change, beautiful quality of life change. Why isn't Bell never gonna sleep? Hey,
Looks like today's special program is coming to a close.
and that's it.
Next up,
I just wanted to talk about all the changes coming to 1.2 so that more people were aware of how big these changes really were, right? We talked about Caeser and the drastic ability of altering how you can play the game coming with Caeser. We talked about Burnice being able to do the same thing. Burnice coming into the game being not our first off-field damage dealer, but our first primary off, like her thing is off-field damage, right? Like that's what she's gonna excel at. We also have new disk drives that are gonna be accentuating that and Caesar's gameplay. There's just so much that's happening with 1.2 on top of everything that we already have that if you weren't into Zenless, 1.2 will get you there. If 1.2 doesn't get you into Zenless, and this is gonna sound really harsh, if after 1.2 and you've played everything up to this point, you're still not into Zenless, the game's just not for you. And that's totally okay. You don't have to force it. You don't have to keep coming back every couple of patches to see like if you like it now. No, the base format of the game will still be the same. But now what they're doing is they saw, from again, my own personal conception of this, they've seen and taken the feedback from the surveys, videos, tweets, whatever. What don't players like about the game? Let's implement and try and change that to the best of our degree. What do players love about the game? Why they're still playing the game? Let's give them more of that. Right now, it feels like 1.2 and beyond, at least 1.2 up to maybe 2.0, however long that takes. It looks like they're catering more towards players who are consistently playing the game and not towards players who want the game to be something that it's not. And I think that's okay. But that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Hopefully y'all are into this. Let me know if you want to see more stuff with Caeser and Burnice. I know that the CE server thing for Zenless is probably gonna be around the corner soon, so we can go ahead and start prepping for that now. If there are any questions that or things that you want me to test, particularly with Caeser or whatever is coming out, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. We'll talk about that. I'll do my best to make some videos on that, and then we'll get this ball rolling. Just a quick update, because by the time this video comes out, it may be like in a really weird in-between state. I am prepping for a move. Caeser is going to come out in the middle of me moving, right? Like in the middle of me unpacking everything and then getting ready to move. If I'm not able to put something out, or if I put something out and it's not up to the normal quality that I put something out at, just bear with me. It's just so that I can get this stuff out for you guys while I'm moving, because I clearly won't have like my PC and my monitors and everything, you know, on the go. So just bear with me in mind. I'll still do my best to get everything out on like normal quality or even better, because I'm really into Caeser, but we'll see how that goes. That's gonna be it though. Like the video, comment, subscribe. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Smell you later.